So this is a short preview of the diagnosis of the British press of Thursday, the 13th of August 2020. That diagnosis will be aired a little later, but this is a preview. And the preview is actually including a review or re-look at this page 3 of the Sunday Times, May 24th, 2020, which ran the picture of a defiant Dominic Cummings. And it said that the rules about lockdown, public safety do not apply to him. And the preview also contains a look at page 41 of the Mail of Sunday of the 2nd of August 2020. And the piece about Claire Moriarty, who received an unprecedented £500,000 handout as she left the civil service, so-called. So we call it the civil disservice, uncivil disservice. And the reason why we are playing these images is simple. Because despite the fact that the Sunday Times and the Mail on Sunday, in their separate headlines on the separate dates, appear to castigate, that is to condemn, the behavior of Dominic Cummings and the uncivil disservant Claire Moriarty, they do not follow up these apparent disapproval of the behavior of these uncivil disservants. Dominic Cummings is the weird uncivil disservant embodied, and Claire Moriarty is exposed as an uncivil disservant after 38 years of disservice, which she culminated in the receipt of £500,000 as known. She must have other perks and other benefits she pocketed. At the time of the pandemic, when the Guardian is running a piece about, well, the Guardian is one of the outlets running the piece about the extreme denial of the truth, basic objective truth, that they are tampering with the numbers of people who were allowed to be killed by the negligent behavior of the various agencies and the government's hard immunity. So they are now saying that 540 less people died than actually did. Extrapolate, and it will be a point very soon when they will say, or attempt to say, that nobody died of the pandemic coronavirus. So that is the kind of danger that we are faced with. And this is the destination where Donald Trump, the personification of the swamp, is doing away with everything that humanity has learned or adapted to and understood in the last 10,000 years. And the logic, the philosophy, the arguments, the concepts, the values, all of those things are now being thrown out. And Boris Johnson is doing it in Britain. And the question still remains, the mystery of his very speedy recovery from the coronavirus illness that he reportedly was ill with. Why isn't Boris Johnson sharing the details so that others might benefit from the secret of his treatment? What was it that was different? Compared to Boris Johnson, Derek Draper is still way beyond getting out of the woods, as it were. And the writer and children's author who suffered months of agonizing illness. These people apparently were ill with the same disease that Boris Johnson recovered from in less than a week or something, or maybe 2 weeks. So, what was the different kind of treatment, or what was it that was so different in his experience as compared to the experience of so many people, including those who were allowed to die and including those whose treatment was withdrawn? So, that is the theme that is running: the denial and the lying and the concealment of the truth. And the newspapers today, Thursday, the 13th of August, the Fleetstreet newspapers today are full of headlines about the fiddling and the mess over the school leaving exam results, mock, and all the other things, and the places or lack of places open to the students affected by the mess, lack of places in the university. So every single institution, every single agency, every single operation that for years, for decades, has been supposedly left in the care of responsible, honest, decent, intelligent, well able people to look after the particular relevant needs and demands and expectation of those they were supposedly in place to deliver to and for. It is coming apart. And that is why we have called the collective mess the pandemic has brought on, exposed, focused on, as the pandemonium fronted by Boris Johnson. And so we'll be talking about the discrepancy between the admission by the newspapers of the mess or some of the mess, and again the newspaper coming to defend the mess makers, the mess fronters, and Boris Johnson, when actual objective critics draw attention to this and demand their replacement, and they are being held to account, and the community being saved from their negligence and their dysfunction and their dishonesty. So this is something that has been going on for a long time, for decades. Fleetstreet has been playing double, treble face kind of policy. Whenever the Tories, mainly it is the Tories, or the people holding the positions of powerful positions, making very important decisions affecting people's lives and livelihoods, whenever there is a criticism about their failures, for example, in the case, significantly, of the thousands who were forced to commit suicide by the Department for Want and Hunger and Poverty Creation, otherwise known as the DWP, because it withheld money that they needed. And those people, almost all of them, were in seriously vulnerable position health-wise and mentally ill or unwell. Those people in their thousands were forced to commit suicide in desperation. That was a policy to cause this mass murder by the department. And yet none of the Fleetstreet papers, not a single one, has actually done any significant amount of campaigning or questioning or investigating this. And that includes the online outlet called The Independent. It used to be a newspaper, The Independent, but it is now only online, which was the one that actually carried a number of items about that, more than even The Guardian, which is supposedly one still considered to be not like the Daily Mail or the Sun or the Daily Express or the Daily Telegraph, which all of which support the right-wing, cruel, uncompassionate agenda that is personified by the conservatives, who are fronted by the worst of them as the Prime Minister, and equally personified by the role model for Boris Johnson, who is Dominic Cummings. The rules don't apply to him. So we'll be talking about the role of the Fleetstreet media in fomenting cruelty or ignoring cruelty, and at the same time tokenistically talking about the likes of Dominic Cummings defying rules that apply to others. So that is actually in the context of Kent County Council and the promotion of the hate agenda against the migrants that has been going on for the last 1 week. And it has been done in conjunction with Fleetstreet media and the mainstream media, and most aggravatingly exhibited in the BBC and the Sky News broadcast breakfast programs, where they have treated these people, the migrants, as if they were in a game. So we'll be talking about the duty of the press, the duty of the media, and also looking at Chris Williamson's criticism of Keir Starmer as a bent copper. Now, if Keir Starmer is a bent copper, as portrayed in the video posted by Chris Williamson, then what are the actual straight copper roles that Chris Williamson finds in the other Labour Party MPs or figures, including in Jeremy Corbyn? As I have been saying all week, Jeremy Corbyn has not been seen anywhere in the mainstream reports expressing any opinion whatsoever against the treatment of the migrants in the way that they have been treated by Priti Patel, by Boris Johnson, and by Kent County Council's leader, Gough, and their co-racist propagandists harassing these migrants actually on the sea, and also harassing the image of the migrants and violating the 1951 Refugee Convention and the one updated in 1967, and violating the duties and breaching the obligations that the UK has been under for the last 69 years. So we'll be talking about all of those in the fuller edition.